Hey Alpha, what's poppin'? I'm trying out my new painting setup. Unfortunately, it's very difficult for me to see questions, so I'll have to keep turning around. It won't be a long one. It's just seeing how I get on and if this is, comfortable enough to work in. I actually just started working on a video when you came on. Cool. What's your video on? I'm also hoping that you can hear me, because I have no idea if this is working. I forgot how weak this Druky Violet is. Yeah, all the gems, eyes, targeters and stuff, coat of silver, then a couple of coats of Druky Violet. Without getting it everywhere else, of course. Oops, that's not good. I must admit, I'm definitely not enjoying painting these rangers as much as I enjoyed painting the Wraith Knight. It's been a bit of a chore, which is why they've taken so long. But this is the goal, is to get rid of my backlog. Yeah, definitely not enjoying this setup so far. It's putting a lot of stress in all the wrong places on my body. I have a very uncomfortable chair to sit on. And if I sit on it for too long, it gives me pins and needles in a place no man should ever experience pins and needles. I'm out, I can hear you, I get frustrated working on my Titan video. And next month I want to do March from a Crag, so I am converting the new veterans into Tyrannic War veterans. That's cool. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, I'd like to see those, this would be pretty cool. I always liked the classic Tyrannic War veterans, they were good models. A good era of Jess Goodwin concept art that really translated well into models. He actually designed a really cool Tyrannic War veteran librarian that basically had this Tyrannid's head that the librarian was plugged into, so he had like a direct connection to the hive mind, And the head was kept alive with all these like weird and wonderful vials and tubes and stuff, but they never went with it. Which is a pity, because that's just such a wild concept. But I can imagine any psycho connected to that probably would go doolappy very quickly. Yeah, that era of Jess Goodwin sculpts has got some absolute crackers in it. He would make a killing selling his art books, which is, you know, evident by how expensive the old art one is when it does go for sale. They've got some nice poses on them, but there's so many fiddly bits to paint. Maybe it's the scheme I've chosen. Maybe I could have had an easier time of it if I'd not picked a light coloured scheme. I don't know. But I wanted something that contrasted well against the rest of the Ulthway force being wearing all black, basically. And they're on a desert world anyway, so it fit. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I end up having to do 2 or 3 coats of this to get the colour I'm after. And then I get to go back and tidy up all the black and all the tan and everything else that I've ruined. Ugh, doing your hobby, it's such a chore. Yeah, it's just not even staining a little bit. I've got some Eidolon purple somewhere, I might use that. And I keep hitting my head on the light above me. Right, that's moved. Maybe that's better. Curtis is here. Hello. Greetings, Bando. Hope you're doing well. I've been better, I've been worse, Curtis. But I'm always better to see you, buddy. I was even going to give one of them a Death Watch stuff. That'd be cool, yeah. Obviously there is that story in the Ultramarines trilogy where is it Ural Ventress, I think, is ex-Death Watch and knows how to kill a Norn Queen, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I need to figure out a scheme for my rogue trader forces. I was considering blue, white and silver. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Oh. And here's my junior autarch. I wanted someone who was more of a... Madam, do you mind? Sorry, the angle poised light next to me has decided it wants to try and yeet itself off the bench. Stay. Stay, or things are going to get difficult? Well, things are getting difficult. Right, 2 seconds, guys. You are an inanimate object and you are not beyond replacing. I will end you. Yeah, I've had a hell of a time trying to get this tan colour smooth, and every time I try, something ends up in the paint, hairs or something, and I'm like, where the hell are you coming from? It doesn't happen with any other colour. I've painted, you know, Marines white, and it's only on these Eldar. It's definitely knocked my desire to finish them. Oh, I missed one. Okay. Right. I think this one is my favourite. And I'm quite proud of the face on this one as well. Even if the camera washes out all the detail. Horrendously so. Testimony to do some Gal Vorbak. Get round to that at some point. And I need to finish priming these Dark Elves. Well, we got. I can DM you pics. There will be a bit because I have to actually 3D print stuff. That's fine. Yeah, if you're on Discord, that's not a problem, man. I am also thinking of kit bashing Kato. Go for it. Kato Scarius is an underrated character who people meme on too much. Morning from the USA. Been some time. Your desk has changed. Yes, Story. This is... So in my workshop I have a computer desk, which is where I used to do all the videos. And then on the wall behind it is like a kitchen countertop I had put in. And the idea was that the kitchen countertop would be my like hobby workspace. It just got filled up with junk, and I've only got this really uncomfortable IKEA stool that's high enough for it. That's why I generally don't use it. I just sit at the computer desk. So I'm trying to do more videos over here now. I'm gonna take this weekend. I'm gonna take it off and sand it down because it's got a really nasty gritty finish to it, and then I'm going to give it a couple of blasts of nice glossy black spray paint. But yeah, this is hopefully where the videos will be going forward. It's also got some of my older and weirder models here, like an Inquisitor I did. Which is covered in hair and cobwebs. Lovely. And an Inquisitor henchman. Yes, I had some easy to build Stormcast, and I had no idea what to do with them. What else have we got? my very short-lived attempt at doing some Primaris Marines. I think that's all that's over here at the moment. Yep. Oh no. Do you want to focus? Thank you. This one I was very proud of. I need to go pop this on a proper cabinet somewhere. That was the first Age of Sigmar model I actually finished. I am not on the Discord. I will post. I'll post a link in the community notes as soon as we're finished here. It won't be much longer. This chair is killing me and it's making my back hurt. Drop by Daisy story. See some live. Be one of the 10 subscribers. I'm making. Sorry, Discord notifications are blocking the chat. I'm making a Stormcast into a rogue trader with fancy carapace armor. They're not bad to use for that exact purpose. For converting, they do look great. It's people who just kind of slap Space Marine heads on them in a backpack and call it done that I think is really lazy. Hey Bando, I'm going to go do a small Chaos Warriors force. I was thinking white armor with black trim. For fantasy, I think that would look really, really cool. You could get some really nice contrast with that. Yeah, I think that would look really, really cool. I remember seeing a really good Slaneshi warband many years ago where that was the exact thing. They were done in white and all the shading was done in different colours. So you had like really pale greens, pinks and blues. Yeah, that could look really, really cool. I actually really want to get my hands on that. There's the Slaneshi champion who's on like the titty worm. I really want to get my hands on one of those because that's a really nice model and it's one I've wanted to paint for ages. What else have we got over on this side of the world? I have a drop pod that needs fixing. I got this for very, very cheap at a show, but it's not put together great. It also needs stripping. I have some Sisters of Silence who need stripping. Giggity. In fact, it looks like they've been through the first coat strip already. A random White Scar that needs stripping. A large number of old school Terminators. These are the ones that are going to be really fun to do. I have the entire Mordheim Witch Hunters warband, which I've stripped, and they need repainting. Actually, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to repaint them or if I'm going to just... Because this one's not finished stripping. If I'm going to stick them on eBay, because they go for an absolute fortune. One of my favourite Dark Eldar models, which I want to do soon. All glory for Vect. I think this is a great model. I think this is just a brilliant sculpt. I literally have an ice cream tub full of random stuff I've been stripping. Inquisitor Gideon Law, who was my first ever attempt at painting non-metallic metal, and it came out really badly. When the Agents of Imperium Codex drops, I'm going to redo him. at this ginger monster. Look at him. And looks like there's a 5-man unit of Tartarus Terminators in here as well, which is pretty cool. I am hoping Mordheim gets a re-release. Let's have a look at this one. That's another one you guys might find interesting. Back when I got back into the hobby, I picked up a Hellbrute. I think this is... No, this isn't an easy to build Hellbrute. Oh, looks like the chain's broken off. I never based it. I don't know why. But I was inspired by the old... there was a Chaos Warrior Codex. It was like... it was one of the epic rulebooks that has like a word bearer or a world eater on the front of it with this kind of style horn, and that was what I was going for. I'm quite happy with it. Curtis, god damn you, stop spending money for the paint and electricity fund. Oh, buddy, my electricity bill this month was horrendous, and they've locked my the cupboard where the electricity meter is, so I can't even get in there to make sure I'm getting correct readings at the moment. The independent shop here has started to jack the 40k price like crazy. Yeah, they'll do it if they can get away with it. If people will keep paying it. If they're the only game in town, as it were, then yeah, I mean, fair dues. That's kind of what happens. Oh yeah, everybody's gonna strip. Yes, they are. They look charming. Inquisitor Gideon was one of my favourite models from the late 2000s era. Shame I never picked that one up. Yeah, I need to find the hand as well, because he had quite a cool bionic hand. Holy heck, you found me as a model. The Orange Man. Well, welcome to the party, Scott. And I've also got the only other Eldar army I've had in quite some time. I picked up, when these guys came out, there was a big box set called the Ghost Warriors. And it was just loads of these guys and 2 Wraith Lords and a Wraith Knight. Well, I built the Wraith Knight 9 years after this box came out. And I built some of these guys. The ironic thing is, this yellow was... I was actually using an army painter yellow. And it's all done with a brush, no airbrush at this point. Ugh, cobwebs and everything. I got given one of those airbrushes that used compressed air cans by my sister, and I tried using it. Couldn't get on with it. And then it later turned out that the army painter yellow I was using had a great big "Do Not Airbrush" sign on it, because apparently it was using cadmium or something in the as the pigment, so it was like super toxic. So that was clever of me. Oh, I found another Warhammer Fantasy model. Check this guy out. This was the converted Vampire Lord I did for my, obviously, vampire accounts. It was supposed to be some sort of Plague Doctor-esque character who he'd opened a mental asylum in this imperial town, and people were going crazy and stuff, and they were being sent to this hospital, and then, you know, everyone was hearing these horrible screaming noises coming from the from the place, and all the ghouls they had were all wrapped up in like what are they called? Straitjackets, made of green stuff. But it's the old Chaos Sorcerer, mounted Chaos Sorcerer model with a hat and face mask all sculpted on, and then loads of extra bits. I was very proud of that as a kid. Or, I say kid, I would have been early 20s. If you hit your meter sideways, it stops turning. That would be great. Think you're being gouged on electricity. Curtis, I'm paying as much per month as my friend is paying per quarter on my electric bill. And every light in my flat is an LED. I'm not here for 8 hours a day. Yeah, I'm being gouged on my electric, and the company refuses to admit it, even after we proved using a smart meter that there's something wrong. So they're making me pay back the money that's missing, because I paused the bill for ages to try and fix it. I've got 1 month of payments left to fix that. And once that's done, I'm just ending the contract with them. I will find someone else, and I will get an electrician in to fix everything, or to find out what it is. But yeah, it hurts. Hello, my friends. Good Lord Bando. Hello there. Ouch, indeed. Might try oil washes on them too. Go for it. Oil washes are really, really easy if you don't make a mistake like I did the other day. So I don't know if you guys saw my Sons of Medusa. I gave them... I painted the bases black. I then used a very pale grey, almost white weathering powder, and I was trying to go for a very white, pale, kind of urban base. Mixed up the weathering powder with some isopropanol, as I do on all the bases for some of these models. Slop it on, let it dry. Unfortunately, it started to seep in green. It was pulling the green paint out, despite there being 2 coats of gloss varnish on them. And I couldn't figure it out. I ended up trying to cover it with a different colour. Eventually, I just repainted the bases black and then did several coats of glossy brown just to make a wet-looking mud. Pardon me. And went with that instead. I found out my mistake. It turns out I was using isopropanol when normally I use methylated spirits or white spirit, which, while both are quite aggressive at stripping models, ISO is considerably more aggressive. So I won't be making that mistake again, and I've just realised I've got a still sealed in the cellophane Age of Darkness box set. I thought I'd run out. Yes! Hey guys, Mark 6 are back on the menu. I might have to start building some of those, because I need another 3 Mark 6 Marines to finish my current Night Lord squad. Well, that's good. Yeah, but oils are really easy. Literally just any artist oils. So this is what I use. Just a Van Gogh oil colour. This is burnt umber. You can get any colour you want. Burnt umber, raw umber. Why can't anyone cook umber properly? You mix it up with a little bit of thinners and just slop it on. Let it get dry to the touch and then wipe it clean. You're done. That's it. Did get Silver Tower for 40 USD sealed. Very happy on that. That's a fantastic steal. I really wanted... Was it Mistweaver Saya? I think was the only real character out of that I desperately wanted. And I couldn't bring myself to pay the full price for the individual model because it just seemed too high for what it was. I might get her at some point and use her to make a dark elf sorceress or something, because she's quite a nice model. I'm sure as hobbyists we've all poisoned ourselves at some point. Yes, some of us more than others. The Good Doctor. Yes, he was. Also finished my Tomb King army box. Nice one, Doc. Just need to wait for my horses to come. Oh, is this for your Cetra chariot? Yeah, let's post some pictures up, man. I want to see that. It looks good. I really need to get on with building some more Dark Elves. I have found a Russian website that sells just the bodies of these guys. so that you can, because you get the sword arms and you get the spear arms and you get the bow arms. But obviously, unless you magnetize, which on models this small is really mad, you can only build 10 of them. Well, if I buy these for, I think, $14.50 for 10, it's cheaper and I can just use the bows. So I can get considerably more bang for my buck rather than having to spend 25 quid on another 10. But don't do piracy, chaps, or buy recast. It's terrible and bad, and please think of the multi-billion-pound company that hates you. CD Russian website strikes again, indeed. Oh yes. How you doing, Hyperlethality? Good to see you. Randomness. So I don't think I've poisoned myself much, but I've cut myself while doing some plastic surgery on some models, more than I'd like. Yes, we have all cut ourselves at least once. So, sit back, it's story time. For the first time, Bando got stabbed. I was talking to a friend from boarding school during the summer holidays, and I was trying to build some models while holding the phone. This is before phones had like speaker mode enabled in every single phone. I'm that old. I didn't have an X-Acto knife. I had a pen knife, and I've got the phone in one hand, and I have got the models on my knee. So here's my legs. The sprue is just sat on this knee, and I'm cutting, trying to do this to just get the models off the sprue. And what happens? Well, the model gives up, and I go pop. And I got the penknife all the way down to the bone. Funny story about human skin, it makes the same popping noise that a good sausage makes when you bite into it. I could see the bone, I could see the muscle, I could see the fat. It was grim. I spoke to my friend and I said, "Hey Chris, I'm going to have to hang up on you. I've just stabbed myself in the leg." And his response was, "If you just didn't want to talk to me, you could just tell me." I was like, it's not you, bro, it's me. I'm retarded. So I hung up on him and I phoned my parents and I was like, "Mummy, have you got back from Tesco's yet?" "Yes, I've just driven in. What do you need?" "I need to go to A&E." So I got taken to accident and emergency. And I'm acutely aware at this point that I hadn't had a shower that morning. I was having one of those days where you just get up and just slob out on the weekend sort of thing. And the nurse comes over, looks at it, she goes, "Oh, the doctor will be with you in a second, it'll be fine." And I'm not feeling any pain at this point. I'm fine. And the moment she says the doctor will be with you in 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, as the pain just hits me instantly. And I'm a big wuss. I mean, I have just stabbed myself down to the bone, so I think I'm allowed to be in pain at this point. And it just is pissing blood everywhere. Ruined my favourite pair of jeans, ended up having to stitch a patch onto the knee, which boarding school did not like, because, you must conform. And I've still got a gnarly scar on there about 15 to nearly 20 years later. The second time I got stabbed was considerably less my fault. But that's a story for another time. Printing the gentleman's version of recasting, it is indeed. You can... Actually, I might be able to swing this around so you can see my printer. There you go. You can just see how messy this desk is. It's hidden behind all the XPS foam. Come on. I greatly dislike this camera setup. So yeah, I haven't used my printer in 2 years, I think. I need to, but I've had so many failures with it, it's really knocked me and I don't want to use it anymore. I've definitely ingested more than my recommended amount of 3D printer resin. That's definitely not good. That is most definitely not good. Did you guys see that there's a guy kickstarting a new type of 3D printer resin where it acts like regular 3D printer resin, in the way that, you pour it into the printer, you let it print and everything else, but you cure it in an oven. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, apparently the thermal curing causes all the monopolymers inside it to bond properly, meaning that you no longer have to worry about any sort of cracking, any sort of liquid resin pouring out, any sort of warping. It looks really interesting, but first of all, do not put anything like that in an oven you intend to cook food in. Same if you're going to do things like Cerakote painting. Don't ever do that in an oven you intend to cook from. Again, I like the idea, I like the innovation, I'm just a bit worried. Also, I don't like the idea I'd have to buy a small convection oven to use my 3D printer. I'd never resort to recasting, ignores printing noises in the background. Ginger, that's awful. How dare you steal the glorious IP from Games Workshop? I need glasses. I'm really struggling to read this, and I'm only about 3 feet away from the screen. My Necrosphinx and Tomb Guards finally showed up this last week. Glad to have them, but enjoyed repairing my old metal wood elves in the meantime. That's cool. The old wood elves are really nice. There's so many armies like that I wish I could pick up. I really want the Bretonnian metal mounted yeomanry. They're lovely models, and I wish they'd release the foot versions, because the foot versions are really cool as well. That model you cut out is now dedicated to Khorne. I can't even remember what it was. Lost Soul. I honestly, I think it maybe have been like some Cadians or something, because that would have been about right for the time frame. I'd love to get some of those Dark Elf Cold ones to swap out the Lizardmen ones, and yeah, I've sliced myself up quite a few times. I think the Lizardmen Cold ones are slightly smaller. They're definitely thinner and like smaller in their design. Khorne cares not where the blood flows. Well, Khorne can pay the dry cleaning bill for getting blood out of denim. So yeah, that was not fun. So yeah, I think that's probably the worst injury I've got during hobby time. Thankfully, I've almost gassed myself with super glue. That was a good one as well. I was super gluing some models together and it wasn't drying. They just wouldn't stick. So when it finally started to dry, I got the old hairdryer out to speed it up, and yeah, it turns out blasting hot air onto wet superglue just turns it into gas, and I was coughing, spluttering, my eyes are running, my face felt like it was on fire. Can heavily not recommend doing that to people. Right, let's see if we can get another coat of purple on these. Now the camera's moved. I don't know where I have to hold these to. Oh, that's a lot higher. Ugh. Yeah, I do apologise for not having many live streams recently. It's just life has been a bit mad. I don't know how it's going to be going forward as well. My old man's going through a bit of a health scare at the moment, and if it's not a good prognosis, I'll be spending a lot more time with him. But I appreciate everyone who does watch the videos, and all you guys who come in you know, the regulars, as it were. And all of you guys that are on Discord as well. Even Big Jez, who may get banned because he's a filthy communist. Apparently the new Horus Heresy art book is going to be available to order through third-party retailers as well. Some third-party retailers have already announced that they've been able to order it from GW, which is really interesting given its limited 6,500 prints. It also doesn't make sense to make it a limited item at all. Thanks, Curtis. I really appreciate it. The style of the Dark Elf ones looks a little less goofy. It's got some new old lizard men waiting for me when I get home. Sorry, guys, I can't read. I'm doing a Valrak. Yeah, the cold ones for the Dark Elves are very much inspired by the early 2000s cinematic masterpiece that is the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie. Which I firmly believe is a fantastic version of Godzilla, and I will fight anyone over that. Pardon me. Anyone watched any good horror movies recently? I need to find a good monster movie to watch. Bando loves himself some good dude in a suit, rubber prop hairy monster movies. Gentlemen, I regret to inform you that the pins and needles in the unmentionable place have arrived. I will be ending this quite shortly. I've done that one already. And my leg is starting to cramp up and spasm as well. I need to get a new desk. Not a new desk, sorry, a new chair. Oh. Right. They make it limited so they can charge 25% more without. I agree that they should do it so they can charge 25% more, but we'll still complain. Problem is that people will still buy it, and that's a problem. But we've addressed that problem before. We all know that there is a huge problem with people's ability to resist temptation in this hobby. I think if you gave people their hobby budget, you broke it down for them in front of them, much like those TV shows that are like, oh, here's a person who's 40 stone, they say they don't eat much, but we've taken everything they eat for a day and we've put it into a giant tube, and now they realise they're an absolute hog. It's me, I'm the hog. I think if you took everyone's hobby budget and showed them just how much money they were spending, and how much of their stuff is not completed and how much of their stuff is completed, I bet people would be a bit shocked, and probably some of them might change, but not many of them. I complain about current prices, let alone upcharges. Yes, exactly. I'm looking back at box sets like those giant Space Marine battle forces that came out around sort of 5th and 6th edition, where they're like, hey, would you like to buy a demi company in a single box for £200? And at the time I was like, no, that's ridiculous, it's a huge amount of money, why would I ever spend that? And now I'm like, for £200? Just £200? I will take 7. Yes, I need 48 rhinos, what are you talking about? I'm hoping we get some more big box sets for the Heresy. This is year 2 for this version of the Heresy, so summer next year? When did it come out? Was it April, I think? I think it was April. So we could get a new version of Heresy next year, which would, give us probably a new mark of armour. Do the Istvan, the drop site maskers, that sort of thing. Do Mark II and Mark III armour in the box, just Mark II armour in the box. I don't know what other things you'd put into the box to make it sell. Unless they split it with Solar Auxilia, which would certainly make it less valuable than Age of Darkness. I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you think would be put into the next starter set? If you mostly collect and paint, a backlog is less of a problem, but still. Yeah, I agree with you there, Ginger. As long as your pile of shame is not exponentially growing, you shouldn't really be getting in trouble. But that's kind of what this year is for me, is to try and burn through that backlog as much as possible. We're finally going to get Mark 47. Yep. I think I'm going to get Mark 5 earlier, Curtis, because there is that rumoured image from the new book with some Mark 5 in it that looks like it may be a new design. And we haven't had a roadmap for this year, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do an armour mark per year. Get Mark 5 out, then get Mark 4 out, then get Mark 2 out, then Mark 7 out. Mark 7 will come out when they announce a Scouring book, I reckon. But yeah, that image is really unclear, and I don't like it, and I don't like everyone screaming that it's Mark 5, because it's not clear enough to tell. But what is clear enough from that image is that there doesn't appear to be any studs on the lower legs, and if it doesn't have the studs, it's not Mark 5. Mark 5 is Battle Acne, and I'll be disappointed otherwise. I mean, I don't even mind it being in the same pose as all the others, as long as it looks right. Personally, I think Mark 4's going to be the next one, just simply because it's showing up in some of the artwork, and like the new False Gods cover, and it's the only old one we've got. It's better to get rid of the older kit than it is to introduce a whole new one. But I still don't know what they could do in a starter set that's not just here's another Spartan or something. Because you don't want to like super heavy in there. You don't want. Generally, you don't have flyers in starter sets. You want a big punchy cool unit. You want lots of infantry. Maybe a Land Raider Achilles? Yeah, Land Raider Achilles would be pretty cool. Cerestus Assault Ram. That's the one I desperately want in plastic. Minotaur, not Minotaur, Gorgon or Basilisk. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm going to drop off now. This was only really going to be a quick test one to see how it gets on with this new camera setup. It needs some tweaking. What we got here? A random lost soul. Perhaps a new entry into the Horus Heresy board game that's really just an excuse to buy 50 plus models in a single box. What, you mean like Betrayal at Calth and Burning Prospero were? Which, by the way, if I could go back in time to when I started my first job, or first office job, when those box sets were available, I would buy a Betrayal at Calth every single month. They were £65 for 150 quid's worth of models. I literally would buy one or two from Element Games every single month. I'm not even... I was spending 50 quid on comic books back then. I'll skip the comic books. Thank you, X-Men. Love you, but you guys can wait this time round. I've still got a... Prospero. I've opened it, but it's not been finished. I think I've only built some of the Mark III in there. I've got a Cerberus to build. Not Cerberus, a Typhon. Is it a Typhon? No, it's a Cerberus. My bad. I've got a Cerberus to build at some point for the Night Lords. I've got a Sikaran to build. I don't know who's going to get that at some point. I've got these Dark Elves to build. I'm just not in a building mood at the moment, which is really annoying. But yeah, right, it's been about an hour, guys. Thank you very much for popping in. I do appreciate it. Oh, ow, God, that hurts so much. I'm going to go and find myself a rasp or a very heavy file, and I'm going to take the edge off this and see if I can make it a bit smoother. Thank you very much, guys. Always appreciate you watching. Curtis, thanks for the donation, man. I really appreciate it. You need to stop doing that, buddy. I mean, don't, but do. It's your money, but please don't feel like you have to donate. As always, guys, you know you can always pick up stuff if you're in the UK from Element Games. If you're in the US, it sucks to be you guys, I do apologise. Find me a retailer that has some sort of referral scheme that will actually return my calls. Alright, guys, have a good one. Love you all. Bye.